Hello and welcome to my first video diary of 2012. It's been a while since I got the video camera out, which is mainly due to the fact I've not done too much fishing while I've enjoyed the Christmas and New Year period home with the family. But it's now the third week in January and I've come across the channel to fish the superb Abbey lakes in France. 5 lakes full of large, dark fish, offering superb fishing even at this time of year. And I've set up on Heron Lake in Peg 13 that gives me access to the deepest part of the lake, a large bay come arm at one end of the lake. Now last night, first night of the session, didn't enjoy any action. All I had was the pleasure of a heavy frost when the temperatures absolutely plummeted, and there's still a little bit of ice on the ground now, but the weather forecast, it's due to change. We've got a westerly wind coming in, the temperatures are going to rise, even got a little bit of drizzle and rain coming, so hopefully that change in conditions will get the fish on the munch and hopefully I'll land my first Abbey carp. Where we are in my swim, Peg 13, got my rigs out this afternoon, 2 of which are about 2/3 of the way across to the far bank in a deep gully in this back bay, this back arm. Now that the light levels are dimming, just want to put a few boilies along that gully, try and get the fish moving and picking up the odd bait. Like I say, the light levels have dropped a little bit now, so the seagull shouldn't be such a problem. So I've got my Rangemaster throwing stick, just going to scatter a few New Grange boilies over the other side. Not really looking to get all these into a tight area or anything like that. Just looking for a nice little spread. Split. Just so get any fish come cruising into this back bay. Somewhere along that gully, hopefully they'll find a few baits, just get them mooching about. And then hopefully one will come across one of my rigs. Well, that's the plan. Let's hope we get one tonight. Okay, I've done 3 nights now in Peg 13 on Heron. Not received any action. There's only been 1 fish out while I've been over on this lake. Fortunately, that's come to my company mate Nick Wotton. He's had a lovely 27-pound mirror, real good fish for this time of year. And the other thing that's happened is the weather has changed now. It's come in a westerly wind, the temperatures have risen, a little bit of rain and everything, and it seems to have put the fish on some of the lakes on the feed. There was a fish out this morning over on Kingfisher Lake, and Abbey regular, Fox, a mainline angler, you're on Flockstra, has had a couple of fish over on Fox. So I think what I'm going to do is reel in, take a walk over to Euron, see what he's had, have a little look around the other lakes, come back, evaluate my situation, think about maybe moving on to one of the other lakes where the fish seem to have come on the feed.
And here we have the second one from last night. Temperature went up, fish came in the bay, 44 pounds, 12 ounces, beautiful looking fish. A bit pale for here, but happy days.
Okay, with the fish coming on the feed over on Fox Lake, I've moved from Peg 13 on Heron Lake over to Peg 13 on Fox Lake, and it's been unlucky 13 for me. With the new wind, the fish are down the other end of the lake. We moved over here, and to me the other end of the lake just seemed a little bit too busy with anglers, so I decided to come into this peg, which occupies the only bay on Fox Lake, as well as being on the back of the wind. My reasoning being, I just thought that all the anglers at the other end of the lake would soon move those fish up towards me, but it's not been the case. A lot of the anglers over here, they like using the bait boat to present their rigs, whereas I'm casting, I don't own a bait boat, and I think what's happening is I'm actually stopping the fish from coming up to this end of the lake, and with the minimal disturbance, with the bait boats going out to present rigs, the fish are just quite happy to stay at the other end of the lake. The mate who's come over with me, Nick, he's managed to get in down at the other end of the lake, and he's had a couple of cracking fish for January. 46 and a 50-pound mirror. I mean, how does it get any better than that for this time of year? But me, I've absolutely made a big cock up, and I know I have. It's absolutely slapped me in the face today that I should have got on the end of a new wind. I think I've overcomplicated things, I've overthought things, thought about where the fish are going to go, but where they're going to go again after that, and I've just got it completely wrong. But still got a couple of nights left to go, so a little bit of time to try and turn it around. I've got everything half packed down now, just going to give the rods another half an hour up here now, because it is sort of bite time, but I think in a minute be reeling in and trying to get down on the end of that wind. Right, I made a move yesterday, come down into peg 17, and I'm still blanking in true style. So I've reverted to the age-old tactic of getting the lads that know how to catch them to rub a bit of luck onto me rods. I've got Nick here, he's had a 32 and a 43 last night, and Remy here had a lovely fish out of herring, 62 pounds. So come on boys, rub like mad, because I need every bit of luck I can get. Well, sadly, looks like this trip's going to be a blank one, but I'm not too bothered. At least I've made my first trip to Abbey, and I've learnt a few things for next time. Mainly, what a fantastic venue it is. We're in the depths of winter, and I've seen 20s, 30s, 40s, even a £50 fish on the bank. There's not many waters around that can match that. The other thing is something that I should have known better really. Location is always key. I missed a trick big time. New wind, warm air pressure front came in, the temperature rose, the fish got on the feed, and I got it completely wrong. And because of that, I missed out on a big chance of getting my first Abbey carp. But there you go. Give it another half an hour, reel these rods in, make it back to the train, get across under the tunnel, back in England, and I'll catch up with you again on another session. Hello, welcome back to my video diary. We're back in England, and I've come up to Linear Fisheries in Oxfordshire, and I'm on Hunt's Corner Lake, a lovely mature gravel pit, around 10 acres. And the great thing about this lake, there's only 10 swims, so you get a lot of water to yourself. But these swims, they might be busy in the summer, but at the moment it's really quiet, and there's a big reason for that. It's freezing. Last night there was cat eyes forming in the margins. I was really worried the session was going to be cut short with the lake freezing over, but luckily a band of cloud came in, it warmed up a little bit, stopped the lake from freezing over. But we've got a forecast again tonight of some heavy frost, low temperatures, a big drop in temperature, so I'm a little bit worried that I might be packing up in the middle of the night with the lake frozen over. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully it won't freeze, and hopefully we'll get a fish. Okay, I've just reeled the rods in now, just to have a little look around the lake, and while the rods are in, I thought it would be a good idea to come down to this empty swim and just show you my standard approach for finding my fishing spots and getting my rods in. So first of all I need to find some features, and for that I've got my Horizon XT marker rod with a big pit style reel, and I've loaded that up with braid. The reason I'm using braid is it's zero stretch, so as I cast that out into the lake and I'm pulling it across the bottom, it's going to relay all the vibrations and messages about what's going on out there on the bottom back to me at the rod. On the end of that I've got a 45-pound armadillo shock leader, and that's going down to a running ring down to my Exocet marker float. Just on the end of that running ring I've got another 12-inch boom section of armadillo braid, and the reason for that is it just keeps the float and the running ring clear of any low-lying weed or chod as I'm bringing that back across the bottom. So that's my setup. What I need to do now is get it in out into the lake and just show you how I find my features. So what I need to do now is line up with a fixed marker on the opposite bank or on the skyline, something that's not going to move, something that should hopefully throw a good silhouette in the dark so I can cast out at night and still be aiming straight at that marker. So there's a nice big tree opposite me, I'm going to line up with that. Okay, just lining up, cast out. I'm watching the lead all the way, just where it's the water I'm trapping the line, feeling it down, donk onto the bottom. Went down with quite a good donk there, so what I'm thinking straight away is that's probably quite a nice hard bottom, but we'll bring that lead back towards us now, just see what we find. Okay, just slowly bringing that rod back, straight away there, a little bit of tippy tappy on the rod tip, bit of vibration, and it's coming back nice and easily as well, so there's nothing there catching hold of the lead, nice clean bottom, and with that vibration that's a sure sign that that lead's just come over a band of gravel. Keep going and see what else we find. Okay, more vibration there, more gravel. Okay, still on the gravel. Okay, I brought that rod back towards me 3 times now. It's probably came back 10 to 12 feet each time, and it was still on the gravel. That's a really big gravel area. A good clean area, good area to present a bait, but with it being so big, it's probably quite a blatant area that a lot of people fish. So maybe it's worth keep going, see what you find, see if you find something a little bit different. Right, that lead then came back nice and smooth, nice and clean again. There was no vibration on the rod tip. It's pretty sure that's come through some silt. There's nothing trying to grab the lead, no weed or anything hooping the rod round. It's just coming back nice and easily, but there's no vibration, so there's no gravel. Keep going. Wallop. Going back to the rod tip vibrating again. We've hit another band of gravel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the marker float up there, because what we found is a big blatant area of gravel. We've come back, we've only come back about another 10 feet, come through some silt, and we've hit the gravel again. So we've got a nice little silt pocket there between 2 areas of gravel. Real nice little area to fish. Not many people will fish it, but they will fish those gravel spots. A lot of food items will roll off that gravel down into that silt. I'm sure it'll be a good area to fish. So we'll pop the marker float up, just tighten down to the lead, loosen the drag. Okay, 2 foot. I'm counting 2 foot for my first time letting some line off the reel there, because I'm allowing a foot for the float and the boom. 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13.5 feet. Okay, I've got a couple of markers there, 6 inches, 12 inches on the marker rod, so I know how deep that is. If I want to change from bottom baits to zigs, I've got a good idea about how high I need to set them. So anyway, I've got a marker float there now, it's up at the surface, nice visual marker. It's time I showed you what I do next. Okay, what I'm going to do now is cast out a bare lead to the marker float. So, just like before with the marker float, I'm going to line up with the same marker on the far bank. And I'm looking to cast this just past the marker float. Feel it down. Nice, it's come down just into a nice donk into the silt, exactly the same as the marker float. So what I need to do now is put the line round the line clip, make another cast just to check that I'm coming down and I'm finding the same features I found with the marker float, and then we go on to the next stage. Okay, I've had a couple of reassuring casts back out to that marker float, and I've got the lead coming down into that little pocket silt perfectly every time. And what I could do now is attach a rig, cast out and start fishing. But what I really want to know is the distance between the bank and that marker float. So if I have a fish or a reel in and have to recast for any reason at all, I can get my bait, my rig, everything back into that little pocket of silt perfectly every time, even if that's in the dark. Now, what I could do is pace out my line down the bank until I reach my clip, counting my paces as I go. But I'm really not a fan of that. You're dragging your line on all sorts of rubbish across the bottom, mud, could be brambles, anything that could damage your line, as well as people walking up down the banks getting tangled in your line. What I much prefer to do is lay my rod down on the ground, put a bank stick in at either end of the rod, so 12 feet apart, and then this is what I do. Just lay my lead down next to one of the bank sticks in the ground, start to unwrap my line, counting as I go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wraps and about a foot. And I know that I can repeat that process and put my line in the line clip, line up with that tree on the far bank again, cast out, and my lead and my rig is going to come down exactly into the same spot every time. Okay, with the casting distance recorded, I've attached my hook link and my rig to my quick change swivel. I've tidied things up a little bit with an anti-tangle sleeve, and I'm ready to cast out into the lake, knowing that I can get this rig back on exactly the same spot time and time again. Well, it's been another cold night, didn't receive any action. Bit of ice in the margins this morning, the ground is still frozen solid, and I don't think the lake's going to be too far behind. The forecast is for another plummet in temperatures tonight, and bailiff Roy Parsons, he's been round, and in his experience he thinks that the lakes won't be too far before they maybe start freezing over. So I'm going to heed all the advice from Roy and the weather forecast and get myself home, get myself ready to get back on the bank, and I'll catch up with you then.